Good morning, everybody. Check Lisa with StartupTrading.com. It is 9:08 here, 22nd of April, and we're going to take a review of some of the levels that I'm anticipating here today. I'm going to start off going over really what I highlighted yesterday, which was that this full 50% retracement, we were inside of a retest, and some of my comments the prior day were, some of the biggest bounces actually hold not when we, like the first time we traded it, it was after a huge run, the biggest run I've ever seen, which was that 1 o'clock bar on the back of the new, the tariff pause, blah, blah, blah. Come full halfway back the next day. What crazy volatility. But this is like the first day we actually looks like there was possibility to accumulate at that level as opposed to like market order bid, which is all this was, market order bid. And then as soon as that continuation starts failing, basically what happens is the market comes all the way back down. It'll wipe out anybody who has their stop below low, and we had nothing but selling pressure all morning long. But I didn't even come to the desk until we got to this 50 because I thought there could be a bid. But we continued to fall lower and lower and lower, and then it finally really just stopped in the last hour at 3 o'clock, and then we've moved higher. So today that level is going to be important again, and if not today, it will be important tomorrow, so on and so forth. But that level is going to be 17,923. So just be aware on the lower end of things. That's going to be a discount zone for me. I'm going to move this up if we get to it at any point in time. So we very well could retest that level. If we start seeing more selling pressure under that again today, we could definitely be headed to profit targets of the short setup, which is the high, and that's my overnight premium range here today. But the highs of Thursday, overnight session to low, gives us a halfway back where we saw our overnight highs here. Now yesterday, on top of being at support, we were also completing a short sequence from Tuesday's high to low. Those targets completed, we went through them, and then we rallied straight back up into the next measure move. Now this is really key here today, whether or not we hold it or break it. If we break this resistance and trade back above 18,300, we're validating the second test of this higher term support level and giving us upside targets all the way at 20,077. Now, that's one scenario. The other scenario is, of course, the bearish scenario. If we can't break above that short setup, we need to start considering again that not only is this second test of the halfway back long from the lows of the year not holding, but we're getting a continuation through it, and we're probably going to eventually then complete down at the Nasdaq target of 15,000. Okay, and that's going to be the next panic move. The panic move into profit targets going back to April 6th. That was a negative 100. That'll be similar to what the profit targets look like. The behavior going into the profit targets of 15,000. So, when we have these high volatility, very headline news driven, yada yada markets, they end up being very, very technical. If we cannot hold the 61.8, which we held yesterday, and we hold the short setup today, which I mentioned from Thursday's overnight high to low, what we're doing then is we're not only completing a series of shorts, but we're also starting to validate downside targets because this long is not holding. So that would mean we'd at least get here, but those targets are valid. Those targets are absolutely valid if we start breaking this, and you could even consider them potentially valid now because we did sell off from the halfway back short from the all-time high. So just bigger picture here, something things to map out and be aware of. Moving on to the 5-minute time frame, coming out of the lows yesterday, we've had a really clean extension long series. And I actually traded this last night. I mentioned, that there, when you get that push below these big daily 50s like you did, and then you get that, it's a straight squeeze into the close. And there was an extension here, it looks like, from the anchor of 3:20 p.m. in the afternoon to high. And you can see it actually traded at close. We came down, basically tagged the 61, completed targets, same anchor new high, traded back into its setup. It was also the lower mid. Where do we run? Overnight session, we rally into the mid, we pull back into the lower mid extension, we rally into the full halfway back short, and we have not traded this extension again. We've come down and seen the midpoint act as support. I would love to see this extension trade again, and that's going to be the first sequence I'm really looking for. If we rally higher without trading it, I'm going to be sitting on my hands, and that's what I have for the NQ. For the S&P 500, same thing. Higher time frame, Thursday's high to low. Overnight, that traded as we go into the European session open. We end up rotating all the way back down to the mid. It's mid. That day frame indicator. If you guys want it, you should let me know. But this is just a great indicator. Overnight, once that short cover rally begins, where does it rally to? Basically straight up to the midpoint. We come down, the extensions from the same time as the Nasdaq, that 320. We traded it right at the overnight session, completed targets, rally up to the mid, come down, same anchor new high, trade off of 38, complete profit targets. We're going into this morning having completed this extension. I'm not going to draw the same anchor new high until we start falling back. What I actually want to pay attention to this morning is if we rally, say there's a squeeze off the open, if we start pushing up towards the negative 100 of that overnight extension that last traded, I would be looking for a fade up there, and that's going to be a 52.93. If we start falling, guys, I am going to adjust this anchor in the room as it happens, and we'll pay attention to those levels at that time. But that's what I have here for these indexes, and I'll share these levels with you guys in the room, and then go over any other setups if I see in gold or oil in when they trade. So I'll see you guys in the room, share these levels with you. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you there.